I'm now more convinced than ever that something massive is going to happen with XRP. And I think that that's all going to come on the back end of the role that Ripple, the company, is going to play in maintaining or the maintaining of the US as the technological superpower that it is. And I want to flesh that out a little bit to start the video off. So one reason that the US is as powerful as it is due to the companies that it essentially has a control over. So things like, or companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook, all of these kind of companies, the US government ultimately uses to its advantage in regards to the global stage and its positioning on that. I believe that Ripple is going to fall into that category. In fact, you are going to see Ripple go public, in my opinion, and I think there's going to be a huge appetite for it. And ultimately, the interesting thing with XRP is the technology that Ripple's going to use to basically ensure that the US remains a leader in innovation digitally. And we are moving towards a world where everything is digitized. And I think XRP is going to play the role of the rails that things are moved around on, if that makes sense. It's essentially that bridge currency that is going to see things be settled near instantly, so on and so forth. You know, fundamentally XRP really is, and distributed ledgers really are revolutionizing the world of money itself, of course, finance more broadly. And I think Ripple, the company, obviously, and they use XRP, is in a very good position to actually essentially monetize that role of the innovator, like the companies that are now some of the largest companies of the United States that played a role in innovating the internet and ultimately monopolizing it. I think Ripple is going to play a very similar role and become a kind of unicorn stock of the United States. And what this means for XRP, you're going to see massive amounts of volume actually flowing through it. And I think that is what we're technically looking at on the charts, is the kind of turning on, the flipping of the switch of XRP actually being used. So we are not one of these YouTube channels, these crypto YouTube channels that talk about XRP consistently just because it's popular to do so and we know we're going to get views. The reason that we are highlighting XRP recently is due to what is technically setting up, where XRP as an asset technically is. And it's been nothing short of a big fat disappointment for pretty much anybody that got into this asset post 2017. It really hasn't done a great deal, but the disappointment that many of you have felt, certainly in the last bull market that was largely hindered by the SEC, we're going to talk about that in just a second, actually may be a blessing in disguise, because what that's done is it's set up a massive continuation pattern that is very likely to see XRP in the double-digit dollar range. Now that may sound absurd, but I've personally taken that bet. We've previously said that XRP only makes up 5% of my portfolio. Some people kind of laugh at that and say 5% of your portfolio, you can't be betting that big on it. Well, you don't know just how large 5% of my portfolio is to start that off. And also, you know, I'm betting on this industry as a whole, and XRP is just a part of that. It's one of those assets that I'd much rather get caught with than without, just in case technically what we're looking at does play out. And I think there's quite a high probability that that might be the case. The interesting thing is when we're talking technically, which is where we get our investment sort of thesis from, not our based off, you know, somebody talking about going down various rabbit holes and trying to link various dots that aren't there. The interesting thing is technically what we're seeing is also backed up with fundamentally what is happening. Now, if you look at Ripple as a company and the partners that they have, it's insane. And still people think there's nothing to that. Not only that, we brought up the SEC just a second ago. I think it's very strange that the SEC chose to go after Ripple and subsequently XRP out of all the cryptocurrencies that are there. Do you not think that's strange? Why specifically Ripple and XRP? Why didn't they go after any of the others? Well, I think that's because it's quite likely that they are essentially trying to keep and throw the little guy, the small investors, off the scent. And don't let the fact that something has essentially been going sideways or setting up for a number of years throw you off what's coming. These people behind the scenes, they work in years, not weeks and months. It's small-minded retail investors that expect to buy something and it just does miraculously overnight. But if you understand the potential role that XRP can play in the world that we're moving towards, and is in many regards already kind of playing that role in certain parts of the world, you'll kind of understand the bigger picture, and you'll kind of understand that actually it's really not that far-fetched to imagine XRP doing something like $1 trillion worth of volume, which if it does that, so we spoke about what could fundamentally cause that spike, well, the actual usage of it. So our target, or a rough target that we're going to throw out there, is around about a $15, $16 XRP price, which sounds insane, okay, and I'm sure we'd all love that, but I actually think that could be the conservative end of things. Now, if XRP was to actually start to be used, you would see a buying of XRP and then of course a kind of converting of it, which would essentially see huge amounts of volume flowing through it, which would be what potentially causes technically what we're looking at in regards to, we think you're going to see a similar move to 2017. You're setting up very much in the same way that you did going into that. And I think there's a high probability, not a guarantee, by the way, hence why it's only 5% of my portfolio, because it's a bet that might never come to fruition. I just think there's more probability that it does than it doesn't. So the actual turning on and the usage of XRP would see it do phenomenally. And we have previously made a number of videos where we've actually spoken about the fact that the US is likely going to have Ripple as one of those unicorn stocks, one of those enablers, if you will, because the US really maintains its role as a global leader through the companies that reside within it, that they ultimately have control over. Things like Google, things like Facebook, things like Amazon, these kind of companies, you know, ultimately give the US a great amount of power. Why do you think China doesn't allow any Apple, any kind of companies like that within their country? And why do you think we don't let Chinese companies within the United States? Or certainly we try and sort of limit them when it comes to technology, because the amount of power that these companies have and thus give to the nations that they reside in and ultimately are under is insane. And if the US want to maintain, which was mandated by Biden, their position, their standard as a global leader in technology and as in the world as a whole, they're going to need a company like Ripple to help them do that, to help them harness the digitization of everything and actually revolutionize the dying system that they currently have. And I don't think there's anybody in a better position to help the United States than Ripple and of course subsequently XRP. And we saw recently a bill get passed that essentially saw, it's obviously got to go to the Senate now, it certainly got through the House of Representatives. We saw a bill get passed that essentially is trying to stop a central bank digital currency, a CBDC, from being issued by the government or the Federal Reserve. So the question is, who then digitizes the dollar? It's likely, in my opinion, going to be Ripple. And they already are trying to facilitate a stablecoin. Very coincidentally, they've obviously known about that for a hell of a long time. That news didn't get as much attention as I think it needed to. And if you look at who currently is the largest issuer of United States dollar stablecoins, it's Tether. That is a big no-no. And the US, I don't think, is going to have that. What they're essentially going to do is look for a company that resides within the US. Okay, remember the Federal Reserve can't actually do that because of this bill. It's still got a little bit of a journey to go before it's sort of wrote into law. But they're going to look for a company to essentially enable them to digitize the dollar and issue dollars and help it maintain its sort of world reserve currency status. I believe that they are going to look to Ripple to do that. And ultimately, the kind of prophecies that you have been told in regards to XRP potentially coming true. So we don't believe a lot of the bullshit that's out there when it comes to XRP. The only reason we've started really paying as much attention as I have been doing is because of the technical significance of the chart, which is sort of indicating to me that there's a high probability a decent sized move is coming for XRP. And ultimately, when you do dive into Ripple fundamentally, when you look at the position they're in, and the world that we're moving towards, you know, it's a kind of synergy. It's a great fundamental narrative for why the price is likely going to do what it is. Also, there's technical merit to suggest that that is going to be the case. And it's one of those things that we're either going to be proven right on or proven wrong on. Again, we've only really been highlighting XRP this year because we can see the significance of technically what's setting up in the charts. We haven't been sort of mindlessly pumping things or selling people bullshit and conspiracy theories without any sort of a technical merit to back that up. And that's what we're going on. That's our backing, that's our kind of spine, if you will. And then when we look and we kind of flesh out, okay, well, what might cause this kind of a 2017-esque rally? Well, we believe it's going to have a lot to do with Ripple becoming favorited by the United States government in regards to digital dollars, stable coins, and the leadership role that, of course, they're going to want to take in that. So that, of course, is going to involve XRP. Hang in there, guys. I know it's frustrating. I personally own XRP. In fact, XRP has been a very frustrating investment for me as somebody that really got into the cryptocurrency space in 2017. It's not really done anything since then, but it will have its day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty sure about that. It's not maintained a top 10 cryptocurrency status for no reason whatsoever. It doesn't partner with all these banks around the world globally for no reason whatsoever. There is a bigger plan at play here, and I do think it is extremely fishy that the SEC singled out Ripple and XRP specifically. It kind of also puts them at the front of the pack in regards to regulatory clarity. There's a lot of things that add up, and again, technically, we see a lot of merit for a 2017 style rally for XRP. So you either want to be a part of that or you don't. The decision is entirely up to you guys, but hang in there. XRP holders will have their day. That is it from me, ladies and gentlemen. If you've enjoyed this content, a like is always greatly appreciated. So is a comment, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Thanks all for watching. See you in the next one.